Actually, you know what? I remember those when they first came out. Kind of.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I do too.
I just wish I didn't really have seen the Mae Young one. Oh, like crap. That was really
bad. Yeah. Then they'd show Ashley and Maria at the Playboy Mansion next. Then we'd have a career-threatening match between Mr. Kennedy and Ric Flair. This, for me, was like basically the same deal that we had with the MVP match the month before at the 2008 Royal Rumble, where Flair put his career on the line against one of the top mid-card guys with... but it's like the same situation with Kennedy in this one, where it's like... I don't think anyone on earth possibly believed that MVP or Kennedy were going to retire Ric Flair.
Yeah.
So that was whatever.
This was the low.
Yeah, I'd probably agree. During the match, Flair had his of course, Flair had his knee wrapped up. Which Kenny would target throughout the match, which I guess that part was good. If I had to say one good thing, target the injury, sell it. He'd even do the Bret Hart spot with the figure four with the ring post on Flair. Then Kennedy would then try to beat Flair with the regular standard figure four leg lock, Flair's famous maneuver, but Flair would get to the ropes. Kennedy would also hit the Green Bay plunge, which resulted in a 2 count. Then Kennedy, toward the end, would get Flair in a small package and would almost steal one as he had both feet on the ropes for the illegal leverage. Flair, though, would get Kennedy into a figure four and make him submit. What really bothered me, I guess, about this is some of the stuff I had said before, wasn't really that bad, but what killed it for me is it was really a one-sided match if you, really think about it. And then the guy who was in control would just end up losing without really suffering any, true damage.
Right.
It's kind of like Flair would kind of get him, a little bit towards the end, and then he'd get the figure four, and then that was basically it. So, Rick... oh, hey, you go.
I'll never retire.
I'll never retire. So, Ric Flair wins. 7 minutes, 13 seconds. 1.5 from you, 2 stars from me. Yeah, that's all I really got to say.
Yeah.
Next, we'd have Vince McMahon messing with Finlay in the trainer's room, saying he's probably in a lot of pain following the chamber. And then he's asking him, how is it going to feel when he has to watch his friend, which is Vince's illegitimate son at the time, Hornswoggle, inside a steel cage against Vince the next night on Raw, saying there is not a damn thing he or anyone could do about it.
That's true. I don't know what happened that night.
Oh, yeah. Ned set up a Mania match.
Yeah.
The next we'd have the World Heavyweight Championship on the line with Edge defending against Rey Mysterio. Beforehand, there was the pre-match video package highlighting everything that had transpired leading to the night. Going back to the Royal Rumble when Edge beat Mysterio following the interference from Vicky when she took the 619. Ray was forced to apologize to her. He tried to explain himself, and every time he did, he get slapped by Vicky. Then Edge and Mysterio would end up brawling, and then Mysterio would wind up coming out on top of that. Then they'd show the most recent SmackDown at the time, which we alluded to earlier, where Edge proposed to Vicky. Mysterio would interrupt and said that Vicky, by marrying Edge, hopefully she changes her last name as well because she's disgracing the Grail name, which all of this led to the accident, which I alluded to earlier, as I was saying. Getting into the match, it was rather short, but this was obviously done due to the bicep injury that Mysterio had suffered. But major hats off to him, though, for the effort.
Yeah, because he still was able to do a hell of a lot of stuff with one arm.
Yeah. Then Edge would target the injury, as every smart heel would. And, ultimate opportunist.
Exactly. Just tell that, right? This company. And you can just tell that this company and all that. Something was definitely not right with obviously.
Yeah, because he obviously pointed out the bruise and whatnot, but yeah, that would help explain that would help explain probably like a lot of this. Then Edge had Mysterio prompted up on the top rope in the corner. Screw you, ESPN. Edge had Mysterio prompted up on the top rope in the corner, as I was saying before. I was so rudely interrupted by ESPN's notifications. Hanging upside down and was looking for the baseball slide, but he would charge at him and miss. This would give Mysterio a bit of an opening. He'd deliver a 619 and couldn't get the rest of any offense there. Then Mysterio would do a springboard, which would be countered into a midair spear. A spot at this point he should probably be very familiar with.
Yeah, they kind of did the same. They kind of did the same ending.
I thought the first one was better.
Oh yeah, but like the second one kind of gets a pass because they're just like, all right, kind of ends now in pain.
Yeah, then Edge would get the win with the spear and the pin and would retain the World Heavyweight title. It's a shame we really couldn't get a match we knew both guys were capable of doing. And, of course, with this, as I said before a few times, just being due to Ray's torn tricep, we weren't able to get that. So
He missed a lot of time, too, after that, didn't he?
Yeah, he was out like 5 months, I think. Because I remember he came back, it was like the draft and whatnot, and then he was on Raw, and then, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and then let's talk about what happened.
Oh, yeah. So Edge would win 5 minutes, 27 seconds. 2 stars from you, 2 3/4 from me. I think part of that was just due to me. It was just the effort, and I still think they got some stuff in there despite that. So, I mean, for the effort, 2 3/4. Mysterio following the match was being attended by the trainers and everyone, and all of a sudden, the Big Show's music would hit, the pyro would go off, and out came the man himself. Big Show had not been seen on WWE programming since December of 2006. He had taken some time off to heal during that time and would actually miss all of 2007. He'd make his return here looking a lot slimmer for one, something Michael Cole would also point out. He would cut a promo starting by saying, "Guess who's back?" He'd say he's got to admit he missed the place. He'd also say he will be champion once again. Then he would say he was down 108 pounds, a huge drop in weight.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden he goes outside the ring to make Rey Mysterio's life even more miserable.
Because we all know they were Romania that year. Now that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so they probably thought that, I'm going to get into that in a second, but I think they thought that with the original plan and everything, like they could probably, like even though they wouldn't be able to go through with it due to the injury now, they probably thought this would still work anyways because it'd be enough to get, Foy like angry, and it'd set him off because he's still taunting him and like making fun of him basically.
Yeah.
So then he'd point out Floyd Mayweather, as I was saying, who was in the front row and would taunt him. He continued to mock him, which would then lead to Mayweather hopping the barrier and getting into the ring to confront Show. All of his associates and the security would also follow him into the ring and get in between the two. Big Show at one point shoves Floyd further, mocking him. Then Show would get down on one knee, which I guess was his way of poking fun at his height and guess in his way of thinking getting down on his level. So then Floyd would then punch Show a couple times and would immediately hop out of the ring, jump through the crowd, and run off to the back. Big Show would try first chasing after him, but he was already too far gone, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know because like how Show like reacted like that was like in like 2 seconds he was already over the barricade. So like he definitely got the quick like when he said he was faster and he wasn't getting.
So so you could see Show at this point after that would be sporting a bloodied nose. Floyd would get a couple of pretty good shots, break his nose.
Yeah.
Then Shane McMahon would run out, and this is also going to go into what I'm going to say after this. So then Shane McMahon would run out and try to restrain Big Show and get him to calm down. And then, of course, some of you, actually, a lot of you may not even know this, but everyone knows that Floyd and Big Show would have their WrestleMania match at WrestleMania 24. But one of the original plans for this was actually for it to be a tag team match, which we'd see Floyd and Rey Mysterio team up against Big Show and Shane. That was actually the original plan, but then with the Mysterio injury, that would cause that to be scrapped. And Show and Mayweather is ultimately what we'd end up getting. But the commentary team was also silent during this whole thing, which I actually thought was a good thing.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I thought it was the right thing too.
I think it just, yeah, exactly. It just helped with the tension. I thought it would just help us sell it a bit more as well. Then we'd have the famous WrestleMania countdown video saying at the time we were 42 days away.
Yeah.
I remember seeing those every week. And we still do see those to this day.
Yes, we do.
So then next we'd have the WWE Championship match with Randy Orton defending against John Cena. This is one that, we'll get into it here. So as brought up before, John Cena won the 2008 Rumble match. He was looking to challenge for the WWE title early. Cena's back here following a torn pectoral injury. They played the whole thing off as it was actually Randy Orton who injured him in kayfabe. But before the match, both guys would make their entrances as usual. But on a side note, I wanted to point out Randy still had his Burn in My Light. He still had that as his entrance theme music, which I love that song. I might even like that one even better, but I'd say at this stage he's definitely starting to phase out of that in terms of it fitting him.
Oh yeah, you can tell. He's more. He's starting to become more sadistic.
Yeah, so I think this is the stage where he's like starting to. Because when I hear that song, I tie it to the Legend Killer Randy Orton.
Yeah.
And at this point, we're getting into the age of Orton. Or really, we are in the age of Orton at this point. What am I saying?
It's like that same twisted.
The Viper.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a quick little thing I want to point out. The psychology of this match was off in the beginning. The way they started us out was not the right way of doing it. Orton's the man who put Cena on the sidelines for months. In terms of story, as I said, he did have a real injury, but that's how they do it. But since this is what they're going with, what made this, I guess, the wrong way of doing it was this was Cena's first chance to get back at him, and then they start out by trying to out-wrestle each other. That's a mistake. That's not the right way of doing it. Because to me, it's like when you have a guy who's put you on the sidelines for months or whatnot, and it's a guy who I guess injured you. You should this should start out as a fight.
Oh yeah.
So them just trying to out-wrestle each other. That's not the proper way of doing this. Cena would hit his. This is getting in his spot. Cena would hit his version of a bulldog. He'd hit his leg drop move early on. He looked for the FU. But Orton would fight out of it. Then Orton would then try to take control of the match, slowing down the pace. A slow, methodical style that he's become accustomed to, which he do all the way really up until now. It's just what he's. That's what he's just. That's the style he goes with a lot of the time now. Then Cena comes back with the 5 moves of doom. Go for the. Go for the FU once again, but Orton would escape. Then both guys were fighting on the outside of the ring. The referee was counting, and both men would make it back into the ring before the count of 10, and that just didn't look right, really, to me. The way they both got in just looked weird. And honestly, with Orton, I really don't even know why he even bothered getting back in, considering that if he loses the match by count-out, he's still champion.
Yeah, but this is all building up for the end, though.
Yeah, but there's one other reason why I'm going to point that out there, because there's going to be one other time that it's going to kind of go with my point I'm making now.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, I know you do. This is for the listeners. Then they'd stare at each other. They'd start punching each other. Then Orton would hit his backbreaker. Both Cena and Orton would be in the corner in a perfect position for a superplex, but then Cena would knock Orton off. He'd go for his leg drop again, but